so coming to a standing posture, align your feet up about hip distance apart, just directly under your hips. And then find your tallest posture. And if you're comfortable with it, you can close your eyes. If you need to keep your eyes open for balance, please feel free to do so. And we'll start by shifting our weight just to allow your body to respond. So you can start with a little bit of a shift forward into the toes, and then a little bit of a shift backwards into your heels. We'll go forward and backward a few times. And I like to do this to just notice how your body responds. And then settle right into the middle of those 2 points. And then we'll start to go a little side to side. So into your right foot and then to your left. Again, just noticing when you have your eyes closed, your body instinctively reacts or responds to figure out how to keep you upright. And then settle right into the middle. So you have all 4 corners of your feet equally weighted, and then everything can stack up on top of that. So just taking a moment to find your alignment here. Knees are soft, not locked, but they're fully straight. Hips line up directly over your knees. And then you might have to encourage your abdominals to pull up to set your pelvis in neutral. Ribs are kind of tucked down a bit. And then lift your shoulders up towards your ears, roll them back, and then pull your shoulders down. So you feel like you're aligned here, shoulders over ribs. And then you might have to encourage your ears to come back over your shoulders. And then finally, just get a sense of lifting through the top center of your head upward toward the ceiling. So you have this nice, strong posture. And then holding that alignment, inhale, circle your arms up, lifting your chest. And exhale down. Let's do that 2 more times, just bringing some oxygen into the body. And 1 more time, breathing in and out. Next time we'll add a roll down. Lift your arms, inhale. Start from the chin toward your chest, rolling down 1 vertebra at a time. And this first roll down, just sense where you might be feeling a little bit tight or tense, and just breathe into that area. And then as you breathe out, see if you can release any tension. Let's do that 1 more time, 1 more breath. And then start to draw your abdominals up and in as you round your spine up. So low back on top of the pelvis, ribs, shoulders, and head. Good, and then as you come back to standing, draw your shoulders upward toward your ears, and then let them drop down. 2 more times, breathe in, shoulders up, and then let them drop down. 1 more time. And then try to keep a nice ease through your upper body. Separate your feet about shoulder width apart, toes are pointing straight ahead, and then we'll come into some gentle squats. So with your inhale, reach your arms forward, hips back as you come down into a squat, and then as you exhale, straighten your legs and press your arms back. Take your time, it doesn't have to be deep. Inhale to squat, and exhale, fully straighten, returning to that good posture. Inhale and exhale. Just gently warming up your joints. Working on keeping knees over ankles, neutral spine. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. And then let's hold the bottom of your squat. If your shoulders are getting tired, you can take your hands to your hips. Otherwise, reach your arms forward. And then just little pulses down. Again, it doesn't have to be deep. Try to keep knees over ankles so they're not caving in towards the center. And then hold towards the bottom. And then take your hands down, hips up, back to your forward fold position. And just shake out any tension from your neck or shoulders, just like we did before. And then rolling up slowly, draw your belly in, round your back, all the way up to standing. Good. And then coming back to your upright posture, press down through your left leg and then pull your right knee up towards your chest and then place it back down. Switching sides, press down through your right leg as you lift your left and back. A few more on each side, somewhat slow and intentionally pressing down and pulling up. Oops, falling over. There we go. Okay, next time you lift your right leg, left arm forward and then back down. Left leg lifts, right arm forward. So one more on each side, slow like this. And then start to pick up the tempo. So don't have to worry so much about form, just press down. Press, press, press. Just get the heart rate up a little bit here. Good, we'll go for 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then just shake it out. Separate your feet again about shoulder width apart. This time soften your knees so you have a nice solid base of support here, and then you're going to twist and twist. Let your arms be loose and dangly. Always think of them like empty shirt sleeves. And then gradually let the twisting slow down. And back to center. Good. Lift your right arm, reach it up. Left arm reaches down, side bend to your left. Take a big breath in here. Try to breathe into your right rib cage. And back up. Lifting the left arm, reaching down through your right, side bend. And back to center. One more on each side. Lift, inhale. And back. Last one, left arm. And return. Good. All right, make your way to the back of your mat. Separating your feet again, hip bone distance apart. Inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, slowly round yourself down. Let your knees bend a little bit if you need to so that you can bring your hands onto the floor. Take your hands one over the other down the center of the mat, nice and slow. And then separate your hands shoulder width apart until you come to a high plank. Just hold there for a moment. Press the floor away, widen your shoulder blades. Engage your abdominals and your butt muscles. One more full breath in and out. And then lift your hips up, press your hips back. And then we're going to hand over hand walk our hands back to your feet. So like you're going down a tightrope down the middle of your mat. When you get back to your feet, relax your neck and head. Take a breath in. And then exhale, draw the belly in, round up. And we'll take it down one more time. Breathe in, lift your arms. And exhale, round down. And then again, hand over hand, walk down the center of your mat. Separate out to shoulder width. Then fully extend your hips, meaning you're straightening your hips all the way here. Hold your plank for a breath. Lower your knees down. You can uncurl your toes and sit back onto your heels. And take a few breaths in child's pose. And then lift yourself back up to all fours. You probably will have to bring your hands a little closer to you so that your wrists are directly under your shoulders, and then knees directly under your hips. And then from there, tuck your tail, tuck your chin, round your back as you exhale. Think of pressing your shins down and lifting your navel. And then going the other direction, lift your tailbone up, lift your head up. Inhale here. And moving with your breath, exhaling to round up. And inhaling to arch. 2 more times in each direction. 1 more through, exhaling. And inhaling. And then hold this slight arch. So your tailbone is lifted, the crown of your head is lifted, but not too much strain in your neck. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. And then keeping the slight arch of your back, shift your hips back towards your heels and then forward. So just rocking forward and back in a slight arch. And then come back to centered over your hands and feet. Tuck the tail, tuck the chin. Find that deep round of your cat stretch. Look back between your thighs or up towards your belly. And then keep pushing down with your feet and your hands. And see if you can lift your knees off the floor in your round back. And lower back down. If this is uncomfortable for your ankles, you can always curl your toes under. So deep round of the spine. Lift your navel actively towards your spine. Exhale, press down to lift up. Inhale, lower. Let's do 2 more. Activating through the abdominals. Exhale, press down, lift up. Inhale, 1 more time. And then again, you can sit back onto your heels. Take a little child's pose breather. Okay, let's come back to all fours. So again, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and then find your neutral spine. So sit bones reaching straight back, crown of the head straight ahead. All right, holding our neutral here, we're gonna reach one arm and opposite leg away from each other, and then back down. Switching to the other side, exhale, reach, and inhale, lower. So as little shifting as you can. That's it. Okay, 1 more on each side like that. All right, now you can curl your toes under if you're comfortable there, or keep your feet flat. We're gonna move forward and backward from here. So with as little shifting as possible, just like we did with the previous exercise, take one hand and knee forward, hand and opposite knee, and then bring it back. And then to the other side and back. Make sure you're on opposite limbs with, again, as little shifting as possible. One more on each side. Good, okay, and then go ahead and sit back onto your heels. If this is uncomfortable, you can sit flat on your bottom, that's fine. And just reach your arms out in front of you with your elbows straight. Make fists, turn your knuckles down, and then towards each other, and knuckles up towards the ceiling. Now you'll feel if you're tight here, your elbows are going to want to bend. So try to keep straightening your elbows, and then just a nice big circle of your wrist. Change direction. Good. Okay, and then we're going to do one more exercise on hands and knees. So you'll reset again, all fours, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. This time curl your toes under. And then hover your knees, so just an inch off the floor in neutral. And now we're gonna do that same movement. So we step forward and knee, and then back. Switching sides. If this is too much, lower your knees, go back to where we were previously, okay? Otherwise, knees are hovering, hand and opposite knee go forward. One more on each side. Okay, and then we rest. So let's just go ahead and make our way onto our back for our little rest here. Okay, so as you arrive onto your back, hug your knees in towards your chest. Deep breath in and out. Gentle rock from side to side. Okay, and then you'll lower your feet to the mat with your knees bent. Try to line up your heels approximately hip bone distance apart. Arms resting by your side. Take a breath in to prepare, and as you exhale, tilt your hips back, and we start to lift into bridge, an articulating bridge, so one bone of the spine at a time. Hold at the top, inhale, and exhale, sequence down from upper back, mid back, lower back, and then the pelvis returns to neutral. Inhale at the bottom, exhale to roll up. Inhale at the top, and exhale, sequence down. Let's do 2 more like that, starting to wake up through the backs of the thighs a bit, and maybe feeling a little stretch through your lower back. Next one, last one, will stay at the top. So as you exhale again, tilt the hips back into your imprint, roll up, keep drawing the belly in so your hips remain level. And then the first option would be to keep your toes down and just lift one heel and lower the heel and lift the other heel so that you feel a weight shift without having to pick your whole leg up. And then if this all feels good and stable, the next step would be to lift the whole leg. So you come to tabletop position and then you place it back down. Other side and down. Okay, one more on each side here. And then lower yourself down. Okay, stretch your left leg out long. Hold behind your right thigh as you pull your knee in towards your chest. Relax your neck and shoulders if you can. And then straighten and bend your right knee a few times. Okay, and then let's go ahead and take the right leg down onto the mat. So both legs are straight together. And then we'll start to move through the right leg. So the movement pattern is going to be a bend of your knee in towards your chest, straighten your leg towards the ceiling, flex your ankle, and then lower down, really just to hover above the floor. Careful not to arch your back. Same movement, bend in, straighten up, flex your ankle, lower down. Bend in, straighten up, flex, and lower. Keep it slow, bend in, straighten up, flex, reach out long. 2 more here, bend in, straighten up, flex your ankle, lower, last one. Bend, straighten, flex, and lower. This time lower all the way to the floor with your right leg. And then bring your left knee in, hold behind your thigh. So knee in towards your chest. And then hold the thigh close as you straighten and bend your left knee a few times. Okay, straighten all the way. Hands will come back to your side. And then lower your leg down just to hover. Try to keep your hips level. Bend your left knee in toward your chest. Straighten towards the ceiling. Flex your ankle. Lower down. Again, like that, bend in, straighten, flex, lower, bend, straighten, flex, and lower, bend, stretch, flex, lower. Let's do 2 more, bend in, straighten up, flex, lower. Last one, bend, straighten, flex, and lower all the way to the floor. And then bend your right knee in towards your chest. And we're gonna work through the hip a little bit. So start by just turning your thigh out. So your foot will actually stay in line with your hip. The knee opens to the side. And then straighten your leg out. You can keep it about halfway down. Turn your thigh back in and bend. So again, like that, turn out, straighten, turn into parallel, and bend. Let's do that 2 more times. Turn out, straighten, got a little hip popping, back to parallel and in. Okay, now we're just warming up into that external rotation. So we're gonna go back to the first movement or the last movement we just did, but in a turnout. So if you again straighten your right leg out, just hover it above the ground, turn your thigh out. Bend your knee in. So in an external rotation, you're going to have your knee out to the side. When you straighten, it goes to the side. Flex your ankle. Lower back down in line with your hip. Bend. Straighten to the side. Flex and lower. Bend. Straighten to the side. Flex and lower. Now, especially when you're straightening your leg to the side, try not to let your hips roll over to the right. Let's do 2 more. I got all off center there. Bend in, stretch side, flex and lower. Last one. All right, relax your right leg down. You can kind of shake it out a little bit. And then bring your left knee into tabletop position, and we'll start with that prep exercise. So you're turning your thigh out. You feel the knee go to the side. Straighten. Turn back to parallel and bend. So now we're not lowering down. Turn out, straighten, parallel, and bend. Feel your thigh bone rotating. Parallel and bend. 1 more. Okay, so now stretch your leg out along the mat, just hovering. Turn your left thigh out. Bend your knee so it goes out to the side. Straighten to the side, flex your ankle, lower back down. So again, try to keep your right hip anchored. Bend, straighten side, flex and lower. Bend, straighten side, flex and lower. Let's do 2 more. And last one here. Bend, straighten side, flex, and lower. Okay. Bend your knees in towards your chest. Hold at the kneecaps or on the tops of the thighs, the tops of the knees, and then make some mirror image circles. So the knees are separating and then circling down and back together. Change direction. One more time. And then let's lower our feet back down to the mat. Knees bent. Interlace your hands. Make a cradle for your head so that your neck can be completely relaxed here. All right, so without really moving your pelvis, start your exhale, nod your chin toward your chest, curl your head and shoulders up, and just be careful you're not pulling on your head. You might feel a sense of traction where the back of your head comes up a little farther away from your neck, and then lower back down. A couple more like that. So neck is easy and relaxed. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, lower. This next time, let's stay in the curl. Pick up one leg into tabletop position and then the other. See if maybe you can curl up another inch. Glue your knees together, feet together if you're able. And we're going to do a little reverse curl. So from the pelvis, roll the pelvis up off the mat and then back down. So as you exhale, draw the belly in toward the spine. Think about control here. So it's not about really throwing the legs towards the chest. It's really controlled. Exhale, deep sink of the abdominals. One more time. And then lower your head and lower your feet. You can take your arms by your sides. Walk your feet out so they're about the width of your mat. And then take your right knee towards your left heel. Deep breath in here. And then to the other side. So now left knee towards your right heel. And back to center. And then again, we'll interlace our hands, cradle the head. Let's keep feet down to start this rotation sequence. So now as you exhale, you're curling up towards the center, but then rotate to your right. Try to keep your left hip anchored on the floor. And back to center, inhale, and exhale, curling up to your left. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, center. Okay, next time you rotate to your right, let's pick up the right knee. So as you exhale, you curl up and twist. Your right knee is coming in, think about it, towards your left shoulder. And then lower your foot and your head. Exhale, switch side, and inhale, center. Let's do one more on each side like this. Okay, feel free to stay with either of those two versions we just finished, or legs will come into tabletop position and we go to the full crisscross. So you decide. Exhale, curl up, twist to the right. Your right knee is staying bent, left leg is straightening. Inhale, everything returns to the center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, center. So I like to keep this one slow so that you can really focus on this diagonal line, shoulder to opposite hip. Okay, come back to center and then lower your head, arms and feet. Stretch your legs out onto the mat. Reach your arms back and let your back arch a little bit here as you stretch your arms and legs away from each other. Okay, bending your knees again, arms by your side. And then let's take the right leg into tabletop position. And you're going to use your left hand and push the knee on the diagonal. So both inner thigh and hip flexor hopefully are kicking on a little bit. And then lower that foot and switch sides. So think of this diagonal line. Let's do one more on each side. Okay, now we're going to put this press with a bridge. So let's come back to right leg and left hand. So you come to tabletop and then push your left foot into the floor, lift into your bridge, and at the same time push on the diagonal and lower yourself back down, lower your foot and switch sides. Everything comes together with your exhale and inhale, lower. Keep switching sides, exhale, press, inhale, lower. Do one more on each side here. Okay, and then once your hips are down, lift your legs back to tabletop position, and then we'll push each hand on its same knee. Now we're going to be pushing forward but resisting, so it doesn't look like there's any actual movement, but just be careful that there's no strain on your lower back here. So push into your thighs, resist. All of this is your exhale. As you inhale, just release the pressure. So it really doesn't look like much, but you want to exhale, resist that pressure. Draw your abdominals in, inhale, release. If this is too much, if it's causing any strain on your back, take your hands behind your thighs instead. Okay, we'll do 3 more. Exhale, press. Inhale, release. 2 more. Exhale, press. Inhale, release. Last one. And then bring your knees in toward your chest. You can either rock side to side, or maybe you want to make circles with your thighs together. So you get a little bit more of a massage on your lower back. Okay, we got one more in this section and then we'll come off of our back. So let's take legs to tabletop position and then arms towards the ceiling over your chest. And then drawing your abdominals in so that your back doesn't arch. Straighten your right leg and your right arm back. And then center. And then switch same side to start. Left leg, left arm, and center. That's it. Now what we're going to do is add a little bit of a push. So as your right arm and right leg extend, push your left hand into your left knee and back to center. Little push. You can always eliminate that part. Careful you're not straining in the lower back. Exhale, inhale. And remember, you have control over how much resistance you give yourself. Okay, one more on each side. Okay, and then rest. So knees to chest, or you can stretch your legs out long and take a full body stretch. Okay, and then let's have you roll to your side. So you can stretch out your arm under your head, or you can fold your arm just to give you a little bit more neck support. Let's start with our bottom knee bent for a little extra stability here. Top leg lifts, toes point straight ahead, and then reach your top leg out long. So you're trying to get a little bit of a lift on the bottom waist here. And then we'll point the toes, kick forward. That's your inhale, flex your ankle, kick back. So I have you bending the bottom knee, so maybe you can get a little bigger range of motion without feeling like you're wobbling forward and back, which I'm probably still doing a little bit. So we're trying to remain stable here. Two more. Inhale forward, exhale back. And then bring your leg back so that it's slightly behind you. And just watch that you're not overarching your back. So pull your abdominals up and in. Leg is slightly behind your hip. And then just about 3 or 4 inches up and down. So it's pretty small. But work to try to keep the leg behind you. Okay, and then bring your leg slightly in front of you. Turn your thigh out. Bend your knee. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. Try not to let your hip hike up. Straighten your leg towards the ceiling. Flex your ankle and lower down. So same pattern we were working on our back. Bend, straighten, flex, and lower. So we're trying to keep our hips stacked here, especially if you don't have a lot of range of motion in your turnout. You might have a hard time with that. Okay, one more. Okay, and then my leg has had enough of that. So let's roll onto our back. Take a quick figure 4. So whichever leg you were just working, top leg of your figure 4. So ankle over opposite leg. Okay, when you are all stretched out, we're going to turn over. So find your side lying position on your second side. Bend your bottom knee for, again, a little extra stability. Top leg lifts to about hip height, toes forward, and then reach your leg out a little bit longer so you feel engagement on the bottom waistline here. Point, kick forward, inhale, flex, kick back, exhale. Inhale forward, exhale back. So explore your range. How far can you go without feeling your hip move? And we'll do 2 more. And then finish with your legs slightly behind you. But again, careful that you're not arching. So pull up, think of that hip bone pulling up, engaging towards your rib cage, and then about 3 or 4 inches up and down. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. So fairly controlled here. Last 2. And then bring your leg forward of your hip so you can turn out without rolling your hip backwards. And then we start bending knee, straighten, flex, and lower. This side's a little bit harder. Bend, stretch, flex, and lower. Okay, last 2. Last 1. Okay, time for a lovely stretch here. Roll onto your back. Cross the ankle over the opposite thigh. Reach down and grab your lower leg. So while we're trying to stretch the hip, there are other areas of the body that might create some tension. So try to find ease or softening wherever you're able. Okay, and then you can uncross your legs and then roll over onto your belly. Okay, so finding your comfortable position propped up on your elbows. So elbows under shoulders if you're able. If you need a little less back bend, elbows out to the side is fine. So just setting up here, press your forearms down, draw your shoulders away from your ears, and then try to reach your chest forward through your arms. So you're getting a little bit of a more upper back bend. And then pull your belly up and in for support. And then as you exhale, bend one knee, kick your heel towards your butt, and straighten. I'm getting a foot cramp, so I'm going to keep my ankles flexed. You don't have to. Exhale, kick, kick, and straighten. And switch sides. Hopefully I worked out that foot cramp. Try to keep your chest lifted, belly pulled up and in. One more on each side. And then I'm going to tell you to do what no Pilates instructor ever tells you to do, is to relax your abdominals. So let your butt muscles relax a little bit, almost like you're sagging down here. And then we're going to side bend. So try not to worry about your alignment too much through your back. Just think of keeping your chest lifted. And then bring your right shoulder towards your right hip, looking over your shoulder. And then left shoulder towards the left hip. So again, don't worry about your abdominals. We're trying to just loosen up the back a little bit. Do one more on each side. Sometimes it feels nice to relax your abdominals, doesn't it? Okay, lower yourself down, stack your hands, and you can either rest your forehead here on your hands or you can turn your head to the side. So I'll keep my head turned so you can hear me, but you do whatever's comfortable for you. And then draw your abdominals up and in, re-engaging. Press your pubic bone down gently, and then when you start to lift, we're going to lift one leg at a time. When you start to lift, think of reaching out towards the wall behind you more so than towards the ceiling, and then lower down. And then exhale to the other side. And lower it down. And reach and lift. So length more than height. And lower. Let's do one more on each side here. Okay, and then we're going to reach arms by our sides, palms facing down. Hover your forehead just above the mat so that you can lengthen the back of your neck. And then let's start with right arm lifting, left leg lifting. Try not to be confused with the hands by your sides. Back down, left arm, right leg. And lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Okay, next time we get to right arm, left leg, we're going to add a rotation to the right. So right arm lifts, left leg lifts. Lift your right shoulder, look over your right shoulder. And back to center, and then to the other side. Left arm, right leg, rotate left, look over your left shoulder. Let's do one more on each side like that. Working your back muscles here. Backs to the legs. And then as you come back down, take your hands under your shoulders, elbows close, draw the belly in, and see if you can lift onto your knees into a kneeling plank all in one piece. So pressing up, and then send your hips back over your heels. Okay, and then let's come to a seated position. And I'll have you set up so that you're in this Z sit with your legs to your right. So your right knee will be pointing down, you're internally rotated, and your left leg is pointed up, you're externally rotated. That makes sense. Okay, so there's likely a space under your right side of your butt. Don't worry about that. Just keep your hips where they started. Lift your left arm towards the ceiling, relax your shoulder down, and then side bend to your right. And then back to center. Now here's where the right hip's going to want to lift. So keep your right hip stable as you lift your right arm, side bend to your left. Okay, let's do one more on each side like that. Inhale up, exhale bend, inhale hold, and exhale back. Excuse me. Lift, side bend, and back. Good. Now we're going to add a little bit of a back extension, if you will. So left hand goes, I don't know, about 2 feet away from your left hip on the mat, in line with your left hip. Lift your hips, sweep your right arm forward and up. So both knees are still down. Press your pelvis forward, and then you're reaching your right arm back into arching a little bit, and then sit back down. All right, same side, 2 more times. Reach up, press the pelvis forward, try to find length from right fingertips to right knee, and back down. One more time like that. Lift and arch, and back down. Good. Okay, before we switch sides, we're going to do one more thing. So you're going to end up on your left forearm. So left elbow in line with your left hip. And then bring your knees and feet together with your knees bent. Right hand on your hip. Bring your head back in line with your body. Press down firmly with your, what arm is that? Left forearm. And then lift your hips into a side plank. So hips go forward, head goes back. And then bend your hips to come back down. All right, one more time like that. We're going to hold the kneeling side plank. Press the hips up. And then once you have your hips straight, keep your feet together, open your top knee and lower. And one more. Lower your knee, bend your hips, sit your hips back, and then take your top arm overhead and just reach into a side bend. And come back up, and then we're going to take our legs around to the other side. So Z sit, or mermaid position if you're familiar with that, to your left. All right, so as level as you can, or just keeping your hips stable to start. Lift your right arm, inhale, exhale, side bend. Inhale up and exhale down to the other side. I should say if you get a cramp or if your legs are not comfortable, you can always straighten this left leg. I didn't mention that on the other side, sorry. Lift, inhale, and side bend. Back up, one more time to your right. Okay, so remember, right hand now is about a foot or so away from your hip, in line with your hip. And then you'll lift your hips, press them forward, sweep your left arm forward. And send the hips back down. Good, 2 more times. Reaching, pressing the hips forward, a little arch. And back down, 1 more time. And back. That one always feels so good for me. Okay, so coming into our side plank position, right forearm comes down onto the mat. Bend both knees so that they're stacked. And you might have to bring your feet a little bit back on this one. You can see how you line up. Hand on your hip, head back, chest lifted, and then exhale, lift your hips. You'll have to press your hips a little forward to straighten them. You might have to bring your head back a little bit to line up with your shoulders. And then bend your hips to lower back down. 2 more times. Hips straighten, head back, and lower. Hold at the top here, and then remember, keep your feet together. Exhale, open the top knee and lower. 3 more times. And then send the hips back to the floor. Lift your top arm overhead and side bend. Okay, and then we'll come back to center. And then let's come into a seated position with your knees bent, feet flat. And we're going to go through that crisscross exercise from a seated position. So you end up being fairly close, kind of restricted here. So if it's too much, you can either go back to the floor or you can straighten your legs out. Okay? So hands are going to go behind your head just like they were when you were on the floor. If this is too much, you can either go hands at the forehead or across your chest. Okay? Just try to avoid pressing your head forward. Draw your shoulders down, lift your spine as tall as you can, and then let's start with just a twist. So rotate to your right and center. Try to keep your hips and legs still. Exhale to your left and inhale center. Nice and tall. 1 more to each side. Okay, so at this point our spine is still pretty much straight, which is a little different than our crisscross. So now as you rotate to your right, think of like you're doing an abdominal curl. You're going to bring your left shoulder towards your right knee, rounding your back. And then you straighten your spine and untwist. Exhale to the left. Draw your abdominals up and in. Try not to collapse onto your thigh. One more to each side like this. We rotate and fold, lift the belly up and off the thigh. Inhale. One more time to the left. This one always strikes me as harder than it looks. And let's relax for a second, arms down. You can open your knees. Take a little stretch over your legs. Okay, and then the final addition is to add the straightening of one leg. Okay, so we'll start in the same position, knees bent, hands behind the head, at the forehead or across your chest. Lift your spine tall. As you exhale, rotate to your right, and then as you fold towards that right knee, straighten your left leg out. Stack your spine on twist, bend your knee. And exhale, twist left, fold left as you straighten your right leg. And if you're really excited, you can actually keep your leg up off of the ground. Ooh, that makes it a lot harder. Or you can keep your foot on the ground. Rotate, fold, and reach. Okay, let's do one more on each side. Twist, round forward, extend the opposite leg. Last one. Whew. All right, relax your arms, straighten your legs, flex your ankles, lift your arms as you inhale, and then work on hinging at your hips and go as far as you can with your back flat. When you can't go any farther, round your spine forward, let your nose come towards your knees perhaps. And then slowly re-straighten your spine up. Okay, let's make our way into all fours position again, or hands and knees. And then take your hands out in front of your shoulders, about a hand space or so. Curl your toes under, and then let's lift our hips up and back again. And take a moment to just slowly pedal your legs. So one heel, opposite knee is bending. And then start to, like we did in the beginning, walk your hands down the center of your mat. Come to a forward fold. Relax your neck and head. Draw your abdominals up and in, and slowly roll up to standing. Good. Okay, we get to the standing position. We're going to do 3 squats. Roll down, walk out to our plank. You can either hold your high plank, or we'll do 3 push-ups, knees down or up, your choice. So let's start with our squats, hips back, arms forward, just like we started, and then stand. 2 more. 1 more. Lift your arms, take a breath in, exhale, round your spine down. Inhale, walk your hands forward. So option 2, hold a plank for 3 breaths, knees down for 3 push-ups, or if you're good with the straight legs, go for it. Try to keep your head in line with your body. When you've done your 3, lift back up to downward dog, and then take your time walking your hands back to your feet, bending your knees whenever you need. Take a relaxing forward fold. If you need to soften your knees a little more, you can. And exhale, roll up. Take your time. Okay, we've got 1 more set, and then we're gonna be finished. So again, 3 squats, roll down, walk out, and then 3 breaths or 3 push-ups. Here we go. Squat, inhale, press into the floor, exhale. Inhale, press. So strong squat up. At the top, lift your arms, breath in. Exhale, round. And walking your hands down the center of the mat, steady, steady. Separate shoulder width. Hold for 3 breaths, or your choice, 3 push-ups. Lift up And then walking your hands back to your feet. Take a breath in at the bottom, maybe again shake out your neck. And exhale, we roll ourselves up. Finish standing. Let's take a big breath in and out. One more time, breath in. Bringing your hands together. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope to see you next time.